Hello, you're welcome to my new brand channel. Today we're gonna see how to deploy Ubuntu VPS using DigitalOcean. So firstly we need to log into DigitalOcean. Alright, so after then let's us navigate to login page so that we have to log in before we can able to see the interface. Alright, we are now on the panel. So the next thing we need to do is that, okay, firstly let me show you at the top here. You can see I have 89.44 promo credit. So if you want, then you can just log in to AWS. They will give you $100 free for you to deploy all the infrastructure you want. Then let's go to the manage. Now we have to create something called Droplet, which is the image we want, the operating system, right? So here you can see two droplets here, which I already created for a very long time, and then we need to create a new one. We have to click on create at the top, then droplets. You see the shark is going up and down, so okay, here we can see create the droplets, right? So then choose the image. Here we have different types of operating system, say Linux operating system, and if you want you can go for containers, you can go the marketplace and get so many different services. So now we want to deploy Ubuntu 20.04. Then we go to the plan. We can choose it as we want. Now based on our requirement, so we have $48 per month, this 8 gig AMD. So now we are going with the basic, which is just 1 gig, 25 GB and 100, just for the tutorial. And when we go here, we can see add the block. If you want to add more storage to it, you can do it. And here we have to choose the data center, which is very close to us, whereby we can just access the server just easily and faster. So now let's use Bangalore. Then here we can see VPS network. Then this one is just to create a data center that will be a member of the same VPS. Right, so select the additional options. We have IP version 6, user data monitoring. That is so now if you want to add all these functionalities, you can do it, but they are going to charge you for it. Right, so now we have come to the authentication. We have two authentication methods, right? If you want to put a password before we access our droplet, or we can use SSH. For me, I prefer SSH, right? And I already have one SSH called Nginx, which is for my system. I can easily just continue and use it, right? But now let me deselect it. I have to create a new SSH key, right? So now I have to put my public key here for my server on my PC, local PC. To do that, let me go to my terminal and say C, then my home directory. We have to cats, then .ssh. Here we can see my private and public key. Now I'm going to display the public key, right? idrsa.public. So this is my public address. If I can able to communicate with the database through SSH. So now I will copy the public key and paste here. So after then I can name the public key and say tutorial. Right, then I will add the SSH key. Now I'm adding the SSH key to, okay, they say okay, the SSH key is already in use, right, which is that one. So if you don't have any SSH key, you have to, like, if you already deploy SSH key, you don't have any problem, you just need to continue. Alright, for me I already have it on install, so I will just tick it like this, then I am going on. Alright, so now how many droplets you want, then you have to choose, is it 1 or 2? Click on plus for you to add, and this is the host name, right? So we can enable the backups, or we don't want. So now we are just going, because you have to pay like $1.20, which is plus. right, in order to have a backups. Then we create the droplets. So now our droplet is creating. You can see the progress here very easily. Let's wait for like a minute and see. Alright, now our droplet successfully created. We can able to click on it, then we can see all the information you can access. You can turn it on and off. That is volume size, all the information about your droplets. So now how can we access? If we click on access here, we can access just launch droplets. If we can go to recovery and also open the recovery, is going to give us like a user interface for us to recover the console if we are getting problems, right? So now if you wanted to access with our terminal, we just need to copy the IP address here, okay? IP version 4, right? Since we already, our SSH public key for our system is already set on our VPS, we need to just to go to here. Let me clear and say SSH roots at, then the IP address, then click on enter. So now it's asking us, this is to like the fingerprint. Say okay, we can say yes, yes man. Okay, we have to put the password for our local machine public address we put. Now we have to put the, we can say private key to allow us access. Then put in, yeah. So now we are in our BPS, right? Clear. Okay, let's update our system first. apt gets updates. Alright, clear. Alright. So now what we have to do, we have to create a user, right? For us to able to allow that user to be a sudo, because it's not good security practice for us to be using root. Then we have to say, if we can create a user, we can say add user Ali, right? So now when we say add user Ali, is going to prompt for us to create a password. We can create a password like this, then retype the password. You retype the password, then you have to put your full name and so many information. Just keep, if you don't want to put, keep pressing enter, right, until you finish all the process. So now if we are going to navigate to our home directory, we can able to see one home directory which is called Ali, right? So now when we cd to Ali, we can see empty file, right? It's now that we created the user. So now what we have to do, we have to create a sudo for that user. Go to etc, we say cats etc sudos, when we click on enter, right? So now we can see where the information is, but if you want to edit, we need to put nano sudos, right? So if you go there, you need to go to the root here. Under user privilege specification, we have a user Ali, then we have to click on tabs, then we say all. So we are giving the permissions, the full access if the user use sudos, right? All, column all, and then all, just a single space here. So you click on Control O, and you know this nano is an editor, right? Like we have Vim and so many. then we control X and exit, since we already saved. So now we create Ali as a sudo, then we can able to do su Ali, right? We are going to Ali. So now we are on Ali. You can see even the text has changed the color. Now we are no more the root user, right? We are using Ali as a sudo. Now if I say apt gets updates, we're gonna see that we can't do it because we don't have privilege, right? So we have to say what sudo is going to ask us what is our password. We have to put to authenticate that this is Ali that is making these changes, right? So now you see you can able to execute commands just like a root user by using sudo commands, right? And now we can install a firewall. We can say, let's say sudo apt gets install ufw. So now we are installing the firewall on our server. Yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. In the next week we are going to bring you with another video. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to subscribe.